Alright, today's going to be some free-for-all action. I did not realize we had a new free-for-all map this whole time since the beginning, or the launch of Warhammer 3. But this is a pretty darn cool map. It's basically a King of the Hill. I absolutely love the whole play behind it. I really like melee factions, so I would highly recommend if you're playing in this map, don't go for ranged units. You're not going to get really good lines of fire. Kislev here doesn't have very many options. Kislev's always going to have a ton of range firepower, but a pretty balanced army, it looks like. A couple cav units, nice front line. It looks like we got some Zargard, Streltsy, all the such. Really, really nice army there for Kislev. I'm wrapping around. I've just brought in a huge elite Ogre Kingdom cavalry force, which I'm really excited to use. Khorne, it looks like, is coming over to Kislev as well. This is something that happens quite often in free-for-alls and something to look out for. If you're getting sandwiched as Kislev, I would not walk forward. If you're playing as the Kislev player here, you're going to want to step back, because you can see this Khorne army coming up, you can see this Ogre army coming up. He chooses to commit some Winged Lancers. He really wants to get rid of these Noblar scrap launchers. He doesn't want them to be firing freely into his lines, which is admirable, for sure. Definitely something to try and shut down. But if you just take your units back and keep to the forests, let these two melee factions, the Ogres and the Khornes, engage, you're not going to get sandwiched between them. So I'm getting a really solid engagement here. I've got a bunch of Mornfang Cav and the Sky Striders over here. We're catching his horsemen. Nice big meaty fist coming down. Yeah, that did a decent amount of damage. His Winged Lancers are suffering. They're not going to be able to take down these scrap launchers. And so I'm keeping myself safe, and I'm just dealing the hurt into his cavalry lines. Now he's going to try and move forward with this army, which I think is a mistake, because Khorne's coming down and taking advantage of it. You can see the nice downward descent. Bunch of Khorne warriors. They don't have a very good line of sight, the Kislev warriors do. They're not going to be able to shoot this too well. It looks like the Streltsy are getting in some good shots. But the angle of this map is just not very good for shooting units in general. And Kislev moving up like this, he's fighting on a downhill. This is just not what he wants. This is very, very not ideal. So Khorne's getting engaged. It looks like Nurgle, as slow as Nurgle is, he started on the other side of the map and is missing out majority of the action. Looks like he's going to be able to catch on these two skull cannons though, which is great for him. I'm finishing up this engagement over here. The Elemental Bear is definitely a toughie, and I think some Zargard got brought in, but they just took a ton of damage from that spell. Lore of Ma is no joke. And I am just wrecking Patriarch, Ice Witch. I'm getting tons of value. A big reason I have not casted free-for-all matches, because I do love free-for-all. I think that's probably one of my favorite game modes. It's not very competitive, but just an absolute ball of fun. I haven't been casting them because they don't show you the point value at the top left of the screen. Like, what is up with that, CA? Man, these Noblar scrap launchers are getting some really good hits. Usually they're not this accurate, but I guess when you're firing at two enemy armies, it can be expected. So it looks like Kislev, this is not army losses. I believe the guy that was playing Kislev just left at this point because he was getting crumped from both sides. Totally see the reason why. I would probably leave in that situation too. So no dishonor there, but Kislev is now out the field, and we have a nice big scrap between the Ogres and Khorne. Now Khorne is really bunched up, and again, Lore of Ma has just got some crazy AoE. Oh, that's not Lore of Ma. Man, I thought it was a Ma spell. No, Nurgle just cashed in big. Dang. Alright, well, Lore of Nurgle, also nuts. But that's going to be an absolute ton of value for the Nurgle player. Even though he has not been in the fight for most of this, he's definitely cashing in to some degree. Now, I don't think, me as the Khorne, or not the Khorne player, sorry, the Ogre player here, I know I cannot last very long in sustained melee with Khorne. It's just not going to go well. So I'm pulling out a lot of these units. I'm going to see if I can get a bunch of value off of Nurgle. Nurgle's got a ton of healing, and if you just keep beating down their units, you can actually get a ton of value. So I've set up my Man-Eaters. Ranged again, just don't have the best line of fire on this map. They're definitely getting in some good shots to the Great Unclean One, but probably could have gone with a different unit there. Sky Striders getting a bunch of value, I'm sure, but they are just being absolutely mauled here. Let's see if we can see them value. Yeah, they've already paid for themselves, but I don't think they're going to survive this engagement because that is just so much Nurgle and such expensive units. Too much for them to handle. They're going to rout, and they're, well, terror out. They are off. So Man-Eaters keep shooting in. My Slaughtermaster routed. Looks like I'm sending in some Mornfang, some scraps left over Mornfang to go fight these spawn of Nurgle. They should be able to take that care of that, no problem. Got some leftover Saber Tusk, and my Nobblar scrap launchers have been left up here to just completely rain in on the party. Nobblar scrap launchers, I think, go really well, even in FFA for sure, because you can just shoot at the army and not worry about friendly fire. You can shoot at engagements and just get tons of value. But in general with Ogres, Nobblar scrap launchers, even though they have a pretty garbage aim, they are a lot of splash damage, and to be honest, they don't do too much damage to Ogres. Now, friendly fire is still a thing, but if you have an army of Ogres fighting an army of infantry, it's pretty good to keep these Nobblar scrap launchers fighting. You can still get a ton of value, so that's what they've been doing on this side. Khorne is noticed them and is coming to rout them, finish them off. He does not want to fight Nurgle. I think that's a smart play from Khorne. If he were to go up and fight against Nurgle, he's going to be fighting an uphill battle, which we know how well that went for Kislev. But Slaughtermaster is just remaining here. It looks like we popped the extra ingredients. Looking for a spell, looking at this point for value. I am not going to survive as the Ogre player. There's no way that I stay in the late game. Is that some more Khorne clear over there? More spawn of Khorne. There's no way that I'm going to be the last man standing here. That Nurgle army is just too ridiculous. I think both Khorne and I know there's no way we are finishing off. Oh, nice spell cast. Good damage on the Nurgles. Not a ton of value, but still good. Both Khorne and I know that we're not going to get a ton of value. Well, it's not that we're not going to get a ton of value. We're not going to be the last man standing. So we're trying to pick off as many scraps as we can, just get as many points as we possibly can before Nurgle finishes us off. Still some nice shots for my scrap launchers. Khorne doesn't have any flesh hounds here to chase off units, which is actually working really well for me because my scrap launchers keep coming back. Same with Mornfang and a couple other units. It looks like I've still got some Saber Tusk, Mornfang. I believe I'm going to bring these two over. These spawn are working their way back up. Nice little downhill charge from the Saber Tusk on Nurgle again. I wish I could see the points. It looks like the Sky Striders came back. Dang. They've been doing some work. Yeah, they're still getting tons of value off these great unclean ones, and that's just really, really good for me. Now, Nurgle's been cleaning up the remnants. They just took out those, another great cast. That's probably going to rout and disintegrate those Nurglings. They've been taking out these man-eaters with pistols, and my expensive cav units like Sky Striders. All the works. They've been getting a pretty good amount of value, so Nurgle's actually up in the score here. I don't know. I don't think they're in the lead. Not even close. I believe it's me holding the lead at this point. I think Khorne's just behind me, and Nurgle's catching up to Khorne, which is not good news for Khorne. Alright, let's see if this is a Blight Boil or if this is a Great Maw cast. I want to say Blight Boil. Yeah, it's a Blight Boil. Another big amount of value. I think this is probably where Nurgle takes the second place lead for points away from Khorne. However, I am still on the field, and it looks like Khorne is still too with some spawn. But at this point, Khorne is pretty much out, I want to say, of the contest as well. This Herald of Khorne can definitely do some work, but I don't think he's going to be able to keep up with the points that we're generating fighting each other. I bring in the Slaughtermaster. I'm bringing these Mornfang around. I don't know why they stopped there. I'm pretty sure I gave them a charge attack. They'll get there eventually. Just trying to get as much value as I can before I leave. Whoever is last standing in a free-for-all battle gets bonus points. So it's pretty good to be last standing, but for the most part, you want to get as much value as possible. Because if I can get enough value, even if Nurgle's the last man standing, I can still win this if I have majority value. Looks like the Sky Strider's coming in again. Nice. I don't know if they got a kill on anything. They just barely instantly routed. And my Nobblar scrap launchers are still firing. What epic little chads over there. Khorne couldn't chase them down, and they're still generating me value, which is great, because there's tons of Nurglings here. There's definitely value for those scrap launchers to be getting. Let's see if they land this shot. Yeah, it's hard to miss the shot when it's all right there. But all of my forces rout off. Khorne is the only thing left here to fight the Nurgle, and that's with, I want to say, the Herald and the Spawn, who are going to be gone real soon. I'm pretty sure my Slaughtermaster will come back if he's not chased off, which is definitely good for me. And Nurgle is finally saying, all right, let's go get these scrap launchers. I could be really degenerate here and kite with these, but they're almost out of ammo anyway. Nurgle's just so slow, and I did not want this battle to go ridiculous lengths. So, ooh, let's see if I land a nice good fist here. Let's see if it does any damage. A little late, but still really good damage. Last bit of value for me. I still got like 2-3 units of man-eaters shooting through the trees. Just hiding out. They're trying to get Kugath. Kugath's probably the most expensive thing on the field, so Slaughtermaster is back. He got a nice spell off, and he's just here. I think he's gonna try and see if he can help goon the Herald. It looks like he's getting interrupted by a bunch of spawns still. Still, nice little melee still going on there. Scrap launchers don't have much more to fire on. All the Snoblars were in the trees or are dead. So you can see they do negligible damage to almost nothing to single entities. So they're about to get cleaned up, and this is the remnants. Let's speed this up real quick here. Ogres rout, Noblars all about to rout, and then it looks like the Herald's the last guy standing, which is pretty fun. Now, it is a victory for me, so I was able to get enough points. It doesn't seem near as clutch because the replays system doesn't give us that point value. That is so annoying. And it doesn't do it on domination either, which is going to be like really important for domination casts, future domination casts. So, oh well, let's look at the value here. My Ogre Slaughtermaster definitely got a decent amount of value. I think he probably paid for himself, but as a, as a mage, he could probably get more than that. Tons of value on all the cav units. These guys, they did decent, but didn't pay for themselves. All these cav units. Those Mournfang, dude. Like, Sky Striders are nice, but the Mournfang are so much cheaper, and they're basically giving me the same bang for buck. Like, or the same amount of gold back. Like, they're nuts. Mournfang, great weapons. I love them, absolutely. Scrap launchers, they're never really known for a ton of damage value. This one definitely paid for itself, but that's kind of to be expected. Saber Tusk didn't do too bad either. And then as for the opponents, I'll run through them really quick. But basically, at least now we get the points right here. You can see Nurgle was very close to getting to me. If he'd gotten just a little bit more value before the game ended there, he might have caught up with us, and that would have been a loss on our part. 4,500 for Kugap. That's pretty good. So, either way, FFAs, I do love them, but that point thing not being there just makes it so much less exciting in my book. I can't see the values. Dang, that Herald went nuts. Yeah, all these Khorne, well, okay. Some of these Khorne units definitely gained their value back. Regardless, that was a fun one. I'm just really waiting for Immortal Empires. I am so ready for when Immortal Empires drops, so we'll keep some videos coming. I think I've got a channel trailer that I want to make pretty soon here before the drop of Immortal Empires, so I'll be working on that pretty soon. So thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you later.